Hey guys, this is Suraj here from Amonra Production and Edukos. Amonra Production and Edukos is a music production institute situated in India, Bangalore, and to be very precise, we are in Vidyaranyapura, which is located in BL layout. Again, that's a part of Bangalore. Now, in this first session that we're gonna start, we are just gonna talk about what is a drum rack and how to make simple beats on a DAW. Now, the DAW that we use for this particular session is Ableton. Ableton is an industry standard. Now, I just don't want to get into the topic of which is the best DAW, but here we use Ableton, so let's just stick to it as of now. And to be honest, many people might even be like, what is a DAW? And this is purely for beginners. So, what is a DAW? DAW is a digital audio workstation. The reason we say digital audio workstation is because we work on audio files on a digital medium. Audio being the audio, digital being the digital, and workstation is nothing but the place that you work. For an IT profession, it could be his office. For a mechanic, could be his workshop, and for a scientist, could be his research laboratory. Now, for us, it's a system and a DAW, right? It's a software. Now, that's why we term it as digital audio workstation, which in short is called DAW or DAW. Now, in Ableton, you have many ways of creating or producing beat structure, but I'm just gonna show you one way, which is using a drum rack. Now, when you open Ableton, the Ableton page is gonna be in your live or session page, which is all of your tracks are in a vertical manner from top to bottom. For producing music, you could go ahead and do it even on the live, but I'm more of a studio person, so I'm gonna take it to my arrangement page where the tracks are from left to right. To be precise, it's on a horizontal version. Now here, I am gonna produce drums, right? Or I'm gonna make beats. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose my drums section. Once I click on my drum section, you have something called a drum rack. I'm just gonna drag and drop it on any of my MIDI tracks or MIDI channel. Now, if you guys want to know about what is a MIDI channel, MIDI track, go ahead, put it down in the comment section because I'm really not sure to which sort of an audience I'm catering to. If you really don't understand what is a MIDI channel and audio channel, I will go ahead and explain all of those terms also, but not in this video. If you guys want to know about it, please do drop it down in the comment section. Now, the moment I drag and drop the drum rack, you could see the MIDI channel's name is now changed to drum rack, and right here below, you could see something like a rack. Now, what is this rack is, to be honest, all of our homes do have a rack where we systematically arrange things. Could be your shoe rack, could be your utensils rack, could be your clothing rack, where you systematically arrange things, right? But exception like persons, people like me who never systematically arranges. But let's say that you're a person who systematically arranges things. Now, this is where I'm gonna go ahead and drop my one shots or my drum samples. Now, again, I'm gonna click on drums. I'm gonna come all the way down to see where I have single samples, or I'm gonna just click on drum hits, and I'm sure that you will have single hits over here. The first and most important thing in a drum is your kick, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and choose kick. Now, there is two ways of going about and searching it. You could go ahead and individually play and select sounds, but just for this particular session, I've already decided what drum samples that I need to choose, which I can directly go ahead and type it out here. So under kick 707 is the kick that I'm gonna use. And the best part is, in this drum rack, you can add both audio and MIDI files, works the best. In Ableton, the audio has a graphical representation in a small window. In Ableton, again, the MIDI is being represented like a briefcase. This, I'm not sure if that's a briefcase, but I like it to term it as a briefcase because sort of looks like a briefcase, right? So works both. You don't have to particularly change the MIDI channel to an audio in order to put in an audio file. That's the best advantage of using a drum rack. Now I'm gonna get into snare and I'm gonna choose snare. Then I'm probably gonna get into hats and I'm gonna go for closed hats. Then I'm gonna go for open. Okay, you could go about adding more elements, which I will save it up for the upcoming videos, but according to me, this is a very basic drum kit. A kick, a single snare top, and your open and closed hats, which is a very basic kit, which I'm going to show it to you today. Now, to just revise what we have done till now is we've gone to drums, we dragged and dropped our drum rack. Once we dragged and dropped our drum rack, we got a drum rack underneath. Then I went ahead into my drum hits, typed 707. You could go ahead and choose any of those. Please take your own time and see how different samples sound. But I just went and typed 707, dragged and dropped my kick, then dragged and dropped my snare, then dragged and dropped my hats. After this, you need to program it, right? Because right now you've just chosen your samples that you need to program, but you still haven't got a place to draw or program your notes. This is where you need a MIDI clip. Now I am gonna drag a MIDI clip for 4 bars technically. Insert MIDI clip. Now why do you need to, why does it have to be 4 bars? What is a MIDI clip? Again, I really do not know for which sort of an audience I'm catering to, but if you guys have doubts regarding what is a MIDI clip and why exactly 4 bars, go ahead, put it down in the comment section, or you could mail me and we could take it further from there. Now, I've created a MIDI clip which then allows me or gives me the access to a piano roll. Now, this piano roll in return allows me to draw or program my MIDI notes. Now, what are my MIDI notes here? If you see all the samples that I've chosen in and dragged and dropped it on my drum rack, it appears here like kick, snare, closed hat, and your open hat. Now I'm gonna produce a genre or based on a genre called house, which first thing is I'm gonna go and change my tempo. Again, if you have no idea what a tempo is, put it down in the comment section. Now I'm going to change it to 128 because I like progressive house, and progressive house tends to be usually around 128 BPM, which is beats per minute. And I'm going to have my kick on all the counts. What do I mean by counts? If you see top, there are numerical representations, which is 1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. I'm going to have it on all the counts and the same on 2, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. Then I'm just going to duplicate it. Right click, duplicate. Now there are also shortcuts like Command D and Control Shift M for creating a new MIDI clip. But since you guys can't see my keyboard, I'm not going to use the shortcuts. I'm whereas going to right click so that you guys see on the screen what I'm trying and clicking. Now, the number 1 rule for house genre is you need to have kicks on all the counts. And the number 2 rule is your snares have to be on 2nd and 4th count, which is 1.2, 1.4, and I'm just gonna duplicate this. So my snares on 0.2s and 0.4s, the same on 2nd bar, the same on 3rd bar, the same on 4th bar. Now your hats and open hats, you could place it wherever you want it, but please keep in mind that the whole sound should sound in a very rhythmic manner, should sound good, should sound groovy. You just because you could place it somewhere, don't place it in a way which spoils the vibe of it. Now before I could go ahead and place it, let's just listen to how the kick and snare sounds. Okay, sounds pretty groovy, not great, but it's good for a beginner, right? Now what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna go ahead and start placing my hats wherever I want to. I'm not following any guidelines of numerical representations like 1.2, 1.4, nothing as such. Just randomly placing them, but making sure that it will fit in my rhythm. Now I'm just gonna push this up, which is my open hats. Now let's just listen to it again. Let me just lower my volume. See, great, right? The rhythm all of a sudden is improved by another 30-40%. And I also have a small interesting factor where the hats keep going and then all of a sudden I have an open hat that jumps in. Now this is one of the very basic or a simple beat structure that you could go ahead and do it in Ableton. Please keep in mind that I didn't probably go ahead and preview each and every sound when I place them in a particular grid. That's because I'm used to doing this for quite some time. But when you are starting off, usually you might have to go ahead, place it, play it, then place it, then again preview it, then place it, then again preview it. That's the good way of going about it. But for someone who already knows the UI and who already knows what to do inside Ableton, you guys could just go keep placing it and then preview it at the very end. Works better that in that case as well. But for beginners, please place it, preview it, and then start placing it, then keep previewing it. Otherwise, if you're gonna just place it and preview it at the very end, you might face a lot of errors which tends to sort of, bother you. But just rounding off this on the whole, this is what a basic beat making using a drum rack is in Ableton. I fairly think this should be a very simple topic, but for someone who is not familiar with it, might be a little difficult. But yeah, practice makes a man perfect, as everybody says, right? So just keep practicing. Please pause the video, rewind it, maybe just go ahead, watch it a couple of times, and I'm sure you would get it. And you guys, on the whole, if you guys have any doubts, please do go ahead, put it in the comment section, or you could mail me. If you go on to the about section on the YouTube channel, you will find various links to our social media handles and our email. Go ahead and drop down your mail, or you could go ahead and comment on our social media handles. Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And like I said, we also provide a full-fledged advanced music production course for our fellow creators. If anyone's interested in that, please do call us and we will be happy enough to share the details with you. And please note that our fees is very, very, very affordable. I can guarantee you that this is the best among the industry. And I fairly know the way that we explain now. This is going to be probably a very simple topic, but even the advanced topics will be explained in a much simpler way, where even a non-technical person or a non-creative person, there are many people or persons out there who has no idea of what music production is but would want to learn it, right? And for people or persons like that, we teach it in a very simple manner, like how you teach an ABC to a baby or a kid. That's how we started off. With that, I will end today's video. Signing off, Suraj here from Amonra Production and Edukos. Peace.